Um, I just wanted to say, as far as the because I spoke on it earlier, but as far as masculine and feminine, I really wish that um we studied more on these instead of going to social media or getting the, well, you feminine because of this, or you
Right.
feminine because of that. I wish we knew more of the educational background on this instead of what we hear in the
Right.
streets, because like Ali was saying, it's the stigma between the two where we can't move forward really. And if we knew that, if we focus more on what it is educationally, rather what it is societal wise or cultural wise, there may be a better chance for the two to actually understand each other, and not, kind of
Of course.
repel each other, because it's like, oh well, you being feminine. It's like, oh no, well, he's showing emotion, so let me analyze this for what it is, or let me, we don't take a step back anymore and just see things for what they are. We're so quick to label it, we're so quick
Right.
to bash someone, we're so quick to put them down. And knowing that we all have masculine and feminine energy, how is it being channeled? That's a question that you have to ask yourself, and your the person that
Right.
you're with. How are you channeling that energy?
Right.
Because that will then determine your next steps, or how you should handle the situation, and not put someone down because they're channeling more energy than you probably, would want them to.
But you
Well,
know,
during
so
my education, you guys rejected it.
who?
Well, not me, because I'm all
Some
for
things are
education.
moving
Well,
back.
I looked up this testosterone
But you were given the right
and estrogen levels, because
definition,
I
Paris.
know sometimes we are learning stuff, but we don't like read
It's a
fully
chemical.
of kind of like what's going on. So on here it says healthline.com, it says testosterone is the most significant hormone to male sexual development and function. But estrogen needs to stay in balance with the testosterone to help control sex drive, the ability to have erection, and the production of sperm. So that's what estrogen does for a man.
Right. And
It
when we
has
talk
nothing
about,
to do with femininity and his
exactly,
damn
Thank
and
you.
when we,
strength factor.
right, and when we link it to saying it's an imbalance, that's why someone's a stud or homosexual. That's wrong too, because truly, when people who are try to transition start taking hormones, if a man is taking too much estrogen, it destroys his body. If a woman's taking too much testosterone, it alters her body and destroys her body as well too. It hurts our bodies when we're taking hormones, especially when a person goes to transition as well too. But the hormones that people are taking to transition is hurting them.
But
Well,
that's
that's
why I
why
feel
what you
like
stated
But
was
those
actually incorrect, because by definition, feminine energy is associated with a born female, and born females have estrogen in them. And if you look at what estrogen does, it modifies your moods, et cetera, et cetera. And masculine energy is born with the associated male. It is identified with a boy male or a regular gender male, however you guys want to terminalize it. So when you're talking about all of these things and you're increasing testosterone, everybody know what testosterone does for men. All of this correlates. So I'm sorry if you don't want to accept
It
the
it
information.
don't.
it's not
It
accepting
does. I
You
wish
can't
I would
prove
take a class.
energy. You can't prove masculine and feminine
you
energy. That's where you're
can't.
wrong. That does not
Y'all
link.
never learned
That's
this
not
You
in
just
school?
look it up on y'all.
You never learned this
energy
in
doesn't
school?
correlate
That's
with
no,
with estrogen and testosterone. That's not true. And
because
that's
you're
just energy. You're
but
talking about
that's
energy.
why
You can't define a man's energy
I
or a
brung up
woman's
kids.
energy.
Hey,
That's
y'all,
why
you
I
got some,
brung up kids, because like my son played football and my son was suppressing these emotions that he had on the field. So he ended up coming to me, and I was like, you talk to your dad every day. Why you couldn't talk to your dad about these things? Because I don't know what goes on in football. So he was like, well, he gonna think that I'm a girl, or I'm. So it's like you gotta think about where little boys, that they feel like having emotions is being a girl, it's being girly. That's not a way to go, because most men grow up to feel like they gotta suppress
It
certain energies.
in a way it is mommy three. If
Yeah, in
Trev
a
and
way
me
it is.
hold on, if me and
Hold on, let
Trev
me let
and
me finish.
Sweeney, oh go
Hold
ahead.
on, let me finish. So when I said talk to your dad about these, so when he talked to his dad, meaning a young boy talking to their dad, now he had a better understanding, because me as a woman, I'm gonna respond in a feminine energy. So now he got the guidance on a man perspective on what you should do when you have these type of situations. And my son dad said, that's not being a girl. If that's how you feel that way. But this is what you need to do when you feel that way on the field. Don't let your emotions get in the way of you getting that touchdown. That's what I'm saying. Like, but you got so many kids feeling like they can't come to their own dad. Like, just imagine your son in a room and he feeling some type of way. You don't even know it.
Go ahead, Sweeney. Let's get Sweeney in there.
I think what we're kind of like where the disconnect between everybody in Paris is that she's using the word energy when I think what she's trying to say is behavior. There are certain behaviors that are associated with masculinity, and then there are certain behaviors that are associated with femininity. So, and I think, and kind of like what Ali is basically saying is that just because I may have a behavior that is associated with femininity doesn't make me any less masculine. Am I
right? If I start acting prissy, we say that's the words we're using, but I cannot act like a woman. I can emulate her and try to mimic her, but I cannot. There's nothing I can do that can showcase or demonstrate me actually being a woman. I'm not technically being feminine. I'm copying her, but we use those words. Like we use those words, like Precious said. We don't really study those words. We don't really think about those words. We don't really define those words. I'm copying her, but I can't. There's nothing I can do to be her. And that's the problem that's happening in society, and why we got all these identity crises, and why a man thinks he can be a woman and a woman thinks he can be a man, because we start playing around with this feminine and masculine energy. That you can't define that. You can calculate my force, the amount of force I could put out, or amount of force a woman can put out. But saying that that's masculine and feminine energy, you can't define that in what that is in a man or a woman.
Yeah, you can't fight science. Like, it is what it is. Emotions are different. It's just a mental space. But as far as what these levels that we keep talking about, it says what it says. It's not about any behavior or anything like that.
Well, that's the thing. You guys keep trying to associate it with identifying what you see as a regular standard male versus what you see as a regular standard female. And then it varies in multiple people based off of several different factors, based off of food, based off of their environment, based off of their activity status. All of these things are a variety. A man can have modified feminine energy if he's only around other women. The same way women can magically sync together on everything in the event you have a room around women. So what I'm saying is we like Sweeney said, we keep trying to associate these behaviors with traditionalized men and women. But masculine and feminine energy doesn't necessarily need to have a balance in each other with a regular standard female and a regular standard male, because we already have what we need. What we're seeing now is more times often than not, women are overly acting in their masculine all the time when we only have a small percentage of it, and vice versa.
You just said it. You said it's because of the environment and the food. So I agree with that. It's not because it's natural. Things are being learned and it's being taught and seen. It's not because they are just being this way because they were born like that. It's more like, okay, well, I was raised by a single parent, or I was raised with no parents. I was raised in the hood. I was raised with not having fresh food. I had microwavable foods, frozen dinners all the time. So the way how I act and my estrogen and testosterone levels are going to be inflated. It's going to be different. But if you just take a regular person and have these levels and they're just in a normal space that is conductive and productive, then it might not be the same for everybody. I agree with that.